everyone, welcome to another episode of Pathways and Paychecks. In this episode, we have an amazing guest who has a really cool journey to share with you guys. And by the end of this episode, you're going to learn how to fly. Okay, just kidding, maybe not quite that, but he is a pilot and his name is Animesh, and he's going to share his exciting journey with us. Thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, of course, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, obviously, we're cousins, first cousins, so we've known each other for the longest time of our lives. Starting from Mumbai, and then we basically came to the US almost at the same time. Tell me a little bit about how it started and how you picked this really cool career.
As a pilot, every kid has a bit of peace, a bit of airplane in their body saying like, "Oh, it's so cool. I want to fly an airplane."
Hmm.
I was one of that kid, like, which want to be a pilot from beginning. But of course, there's a lot of obstacles, and once you grow in life, it just comes to realize that there's a lot more than flying now. You need a real job. You need
Hmm.
to have a career which is other than aviation. But I graduated in computer science out of New York.
Hmm.
And don't get me wrong, I
Hmm.
love coding. There's a lot of challenging work on that phase of my journey.
Hmm.
But at some point, I couldn't see myself sitting in front of a computer for say 8 to 10 hours a day, taking
Hmm.
work home and still working. So I'm like, what's the other alternate passion that I have other
Hmm.
than computers? And of course, one fine day I just realized, I still love airplanes. How about let's try to make a career out of it? So
Wow.
one day I just started reading into how to be a pilot and just
Hmm.
went from there.
Wow, that's amazing. I had almost forgotten that, yeah, you didn't start that as your initial choice. Basically, you went to school, you went to one of the colleges there, and how long did it take to finish that course? You just finished that in 4 years, I guess?
So there was a 4 year degree, the
Mm-hmm.
computer science, and I
Mm-hmm.
finished that.
Mm-hmm.
And once I was done, I started to look for aviation colleges and
Mm-hmm.
started applying to multiple colleges around the United States.
Okay. So what is that required? Were there a lot of prerequisites that you already had, or did you have to go back and take some more classes before you started applying?
So to be a pilot, it's more like a certification than actually a degree.
Okay.
So even if it's someone with 12th grade or someone
Mm-hmm.
with associate degree or someone with a graduate degree, anyone can actually enroll for this course to
Okay.
be a pilot in any time of their life. I've seen
Mm-hmm.
people applying and started learning at the age of 18 and 19.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you can apply for this training pretty much any time you want. It's a course. There's no set date or years that
Okay.
needs you to be to do the schooling.
Okay.
It's how quick you want to do. You pick your flight,
Mm-hmm.
you pick your days off. It's just like everything revolves around your schedule.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. So how long did it take you to do everything once you decided and once you applied? How long was that
So
course?
once I started my school, it took me around 2 years to finish from my private pilot license to commercial pilot license.
Mm-hmm.
That took me actually about a year and a half. So when you establish a commercial pilot license, that actually gives you privilege to work in commercial environment like commercial flights or
Mm-hmm.
cargo and like something that you're gonna get paid now.
Okay.
Uh, but when you reach at that point, you roughly have about 250 hours of
Okay.
flight time. A normal job in airline career will have you to have at least 1,500 hours of flight time.
Mm-hmm.
So once I'd done my commercial license, I had to do something called a certified flight instructor.
Okay.
So that actually you learn to be a professor pretty much,
Mm-hmm.
right? So once you pass that side of the training, you become a professor. Now you're an instructor, and now you can teach other students
Hmm.
how to fly an airplane.
Okay.
So everything kind of took me about 2 years
Okay,
for
that's
my
not bad.
education.
That's not bad. So, and especially the fact that you said that anyone at any age can, if they really are passionate about it, can do it. So that's awesome. Another question I had was, so what's the difference? Okay, you did mention the private pilot license. What can you do with that?
So yeah, so they're like usually to just be a commercial pilot, you
Mm-hmm.
have to go through 3 phases.
Mm-hmm.
First is a private pilot certification.
Okay.
Second is instrument pilot certification, and then third is a commercial pilot certification.
Okay.
So what private pilot will certification is like a basic. It teaches you basic aerodynamics, basic flight rules, um, general familiarization with your airplane, with the airspaces. So now you just learning the basic basis of flying.
Mm-hmm.
Of it can be an airplane that would be a Cessna 172, Piper Arrow. So those are like small airplanes. They sit about like 4 to 6 people.
Okay. Makes sense.
Now, usually people who have aviation as a hobby,
Mm-hmm.
they go for the certification as well.
Yeah.
So you or anyone can
Mm-hmm.
actually get a medical certificate from a
Mm.
doctor
Okay.
and reach up to a school and say, "Hey, I would like to fly for fun."
Wow.
And this takes about 3 to 6 months,
Okay.
depending again on the availability,
Mm-hmm.
depending on the weather, depending on the airplane,
Got it.
instructors. Um, so you start your course with the basic knowledge of the airplane.
Mm.
First flight usually is an introductory flight where a flight instructor is gonna take you out for a flight.
Mm-hmm.
You pretty much sit next to him. He's gonna show you basic principles of flight, and from there on, you start taking the controls. You
Mm.
start flying the airplane,
Mm.
and on the ground, you learn. So it's a very fun environment.
Yeah, it's exciting and also nerve-wracking, trying to imagine everything. It sounds like a lot of power, but also like scary power.
Oh, scary. Yeah, it's a little scary in the beginning, but
Hmm.
once you go up in the air for first few hours, that's it. You just gotta get that first few hours out of the way.
Yeah, okay, that's awesome. Um, so in general, how much is the estimated cost to like your or
Be
the
the private.
schooling or the certifications, I guess. Like,
Yeah. So the private pilot license that I just mentioned that like usually
mm-hmm,
people do for a hobby or
mm-hmm,
even for the career if you
mm-hmm,
want to be in aviation, that's the first step to
mm-hmm,
the flying industry.
mm-hmm.
So that private pilot license should cost you roughly around 17 to 20 thousand dollars.
Okay.
Again, depending on
Mm-hmm.
what airplane you choose to fly.
Okay.
Um, and how expensive the school is. And these days, everything
Mm-hmm.
is getting expensive. So if you
True.
want to do it, be
Absolutely.
be there today. But yeah, private pilot takes about 3 to 6 months, depending on
Mm-hmm.
the availability, and costs you about 17 to 20 thousand dollars.
Okay.
After you finish that certification, now if you want to proceed in aviation career,
Mm-hmm.
so the next step is
Mm-hmm.
instrument flying.
Mm-hmm.
So what the next chapter in aviation teaches you is if the weather is bad, you come in where the cloud ceilings are very low.
Mm-hmm.
Now it teaches you all about navigation. It
Mm-hmm.
teaches you all about the instrument procedures that happens up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
So on that course, what happens is, kid you not, there are goggles specially made for those courses, which will fog your vision,
Oh.
and you cannot see outside the airplane.
Oh.
All you see is all inside the airplane, and now the instructor is gonna tell you, hey, if I want to go from point A to B, I
Mm-hmm.
cannot see anything outside. How do you
Mm-hmm.
take me there? So by the help of all the navigation instruments in your airplane,
Mm-hmm.
you pick a route and you fly a certain way to go to your destination. So basically, flying blind is what they call in aviation, and that's all about instrument rating. So
Mm,
you
okay.
can fly in bad weather without looking
Mm-hmm.
outside, knowing where you're going.
Right. Intense, but definitely makes sense because you guys definitely come across those situations, especially with all the crazy stuff happening with the weather these days.
All the time. Giving you example, 2 days ago,
Hmm.
coming back from Florida back to JFK, weather
Hmm.
was really bad. It was actually snowing a
Mm.
bit,
Yeah.
and we came to a point
Hmm.
we were about to land. We were about 200 feet from the runway, but we still
Oh
couldn't
gosh,
see it.
that's
So
scary.
we had to go around exactly. We had to
Hmm.
go to our alternate. So those are the
Wow.
times when you need
Hmm.
to know exactly where you're going since you're so low to the ground.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. What are some unique skill sets that you need for this career? Because I mean, again, it's not for everyone, right? I think only certain people are cut out for it. Yeah, having a passion is definitely one thing. But I'm sure you have certain skill sets, which I don't know if you've thought about a lot that you might have.
Sure, it does. Passion, again, as you said, passion is one thing, but another thing is you need to have good motor skills
Mm-hmm.
because right
Mm-hmm.
now, everything, both of your legs, both of your
Mm-hmm.
hands, your vision, you're talking, like you have to be
Mm-hmm.
very well organized if you fly an airplane because every
Mm-hmm.
part of your body at this time is doing
Yeah,
something or the other.
true.
So it's a fun fact. When I was an instructor, I used to teach my students like
Mm-hmm.
if you drive a car down the street, right? If a phone call comes, can you answer a phone call? My students like, no, we cannot. We get a ticket. I'm like, perfect. So now when you're driving a car, you got a TV in your car. Can you watch a TV? You're like, no, you gotta get a ticket or you're gonna crash into something.
Mm-hmm.
Now what aviation is, you have to talk on the radios while you're looking outside, while
Mm-hmm.
you're looking inside the instruments
Mm-hmm.
or where you're going. So technically,
Yeah.
you're also talking on the phone. You're still looking at some sort of TV. You're
Mm-hmm.
still looking outside.
Yeah,
So it's all integrated in one. So it takes some time to get used to all the stuff, but
true.
more experience,
Yeah.
um, better you get with it.
True. But yeah, definitely sounds like a lot of multitasking could definitely get very stressful at times, I'm sure. But yeah, that's definitely interesting and something to keep in mind for those who are interested but are not sure if it is for them or not.
Definitely.
All right. Another thing I was interested in knowing is how does the hierarchy work in when you start flying commercial planes?
So the way your initial job's gonna work, as I said, like you will have only 250 hours when you got the commercial certification.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what you need to do is get hours under your belt before you can apply to
Mm-hmm.
the regional airlines, what we call as the introduction to the commercial aviation. Before that, usually what students do is like they become instructors and then they teach another students, and that's how they get the experience of the flight hours.
Okay.
Or some will go in commercial flying. So, say someone has a company with multiple airplanes and they need pilots, and those are called as Part 91 flying. That's where you fly corporate people from point A to B.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that's how you building your hours. So once you get around 1,500 hours,
Mm-hmm.
that's the right time to apply for a commercial job if you want to be in commercial, or a cargo job if you feel like you
Okay.
want to fly cargo around. Um, that being said, so all the regional airlines or the airlines that will have airplane that sits about 45 seater to up to 76 seaters,
Mm-hmm.
and those are the airplane that goes from small town to small towns and
Mm-hmm.
like connecting different major hubs of
Okay.
in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So I had roughly 1,410 hours when I applied
Mm-hmm.
to the airline called Shuttle America. It's not in existence right now. It got bought by Republic Airways.
Okay.
Um, but I used to fly Embraer 170, 75s.
Mm-hmm.
And once I got to the airline, I spent about 5 years
Mm-hmm.
in the airlines. And after about 3.5 years of me flying as a first officer, so as soon as
Mm-hmm.
you enter the aviation world, you are a first officer.
Okay.
So now I got about 2,500 to 3,000 hours
Mm-hmm.
in the airplane, and then I got upgraded to the captain.
Okay.
So After 3.5, 4 years, I was a captain, and it took me another year and a half before I applied in my
Hmm.
current job, which I'm at JetBlue at this point.
Okay.
And the only worst thing I would say about this
Hmm.
aviation, I would say worst thing because I had to cross the hurdle at that time was
Hmm.
once you become a captain,
Hmm.
you would assume that if you switch a company, you
Hmm.
will be a captain again, right?
Right.
But that's not the case in this industry. In here,
That's
you
crazy.
start all the way from the bottom.
Wow.
Yes. So I was a captain. I started JetBlue. I was a first officer again.
Wow.
I had to work my way up again. And about 2.5 years after I joined JetBlue,
Hmm.
I got enough hours, and I got my seniority,
Hmm.
and now I'm a captain in JetBlue.
Oh, nice. Yeah, definitely. I saw that recently, so congratulations officially again.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
But that's crazy. That's like they're penalizing you for just switching companies. That's very interesting.
That's how it is. That's how entire aviation industry works.
Very interesting. I don't think I kn know of this existing in any other industry, but it's okay. It has other
I
perks,
have
so.
not heard exactly. I haven't heard anything. I heard if you got a position, you
Right,
make your way up, you at least get the same position, if
right.
not higher, in
Yeah,
your next job.
yeah.
But yeah, this industry is a
Hmm.
little different.
Is it very different to switch companies because of the planes you fly? I'm just curious, or not really?
No, usually the way you pick an airline, of course, is the one which has a hub where you're living at. You don't want to
Hmm.
commute.
Right.
That's the biggest challenge in aviation.
Okay.
It might come by surprise, but like almost 60 to 70% of pilots
Mm-hmm.
say they are based out of New York,
Mm-hmm.
will not live in New York.
Oh,
They
wow.
will live somewhere like in Florida. They might be in Raleigh. They might be in Washington D.C. They
Wow.
might be in Carolina somewhere. So,
Hmm.
so all they do is they come up a day before their work
Oh.
to New York, and then they fly. So the first thing I think the
Hmm.
pilots actually
Mm-hmm.
see is what's the hometown company.
Makes sense.
Uh, and again, switching like airlines is like very limited. If you see the companies that we have right
Mm-hmm.
now, we got JetBlue, we got Delta, we got United, we
Mm-hmm.
got American,
Mm-hmm.
Southwest, Spirit, Alaska. So they're like, if we count, there are no more than 10 to 11 companies
True.
that you can switch from.
That's true.
And what you want to do is you want to go to the airline that you want
Mm-hmm.
in the very beginning, because if you stay any
Hmm.
longer in your previous job and
Yeah.
switch to a new job, guess what? You have to start from scratch. So
Makes
you
sense.
gotta make a move right away.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, definitely something to consider. Yeah, very fascinating. Okay, I definitely have a lot more questions that I was thinking as you were talking. So one of the things I want to talk about is all the perks that you get as being a pilot. Can you stress some of those? Like I know
Oh,
traveling for family, I know there's so many.
oh, there are a bunch of perks in this industry. I don't know where to start from right now, but the biggest one, as
Hmm.
you say, someone like you're a pilot, the first thing that comes out in anyone's mind is like, "Oh, you fly for free."
Hmm.
I'm like, yeah, yeah, kinda. I kind of fly for free. That's the biggest perk that comes with the job for
Hmm.
sure. So, the way this industry here works is since I work for JetBlue, any
Hmm.
JetBlue that goes
Hmm.
anywhere in the United States
Hmm.
or even outside the United States, I get to fly for free,
Yeah, it's awesome.
and so does my spouse.
Hmm.
And the only time I have to pay something for
Hmm.
an airfare is, for example, I went to London.
Hmm.
So to go from New York to London, I'll go for free.
Hmm.
And even coming back, I'll fly for free. The only thing is I have to pay taxes on the way back.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So whatever airport charges,
Got
taxes,
it.
that's the only money that you pay.
That's not bad though. That's great.
So it's about like I know in Paris the tax is about $70. I think
Hmm.
UK has the highest tax, about 150 or 160.
I see.
So that's the only thing that you pay.
Makes sense.
on the other side, my parents, they
Mm-hmm.
get the perks as well, but they pay a little additional fee, which might round up to maybe 10% of the
Okay.
actual ticket value.
Mm-hmm.
But still, the greatest perks of all time. You
For
can
sure.
fly anytime, fly anywhere. You can
Mm-hmm.
change flights, no
Yeah.
cancellation fee, no baggage fee.
Oh, that
So
sounds
you know,
like a
so
dream come true for so many people.
exactly, exactly. So it comes with a lot of perks.
All right.
Another, I wouldn't say perk wise, but we do get more days off than
Mm-hmm.
someone with a regular 9 to 5
Wow.
jobs. Like, yeah, so we have certain threshold that we cannot fly. We have certain rest rules
Mm-hmm.
that we need to have
Okay.
every month. So where I stand right now,
Mm-hmm.
roughly I get about like 14 to 15 days off a month.
Wow.
Yes, and so that turns out to be bigger perk where everyone goes to work like
Mm-hmm.
almost with getting 8 days off a month. I'm
Yeah.
kind of working on after. So
That's awesome. Yeah, that's the other thing I was going to talk about. Just like work-life balance in general, you think it gives you enough, like, do you appreciate a good work-life balance with this industry?
oh, I do personally at this point, but I have seen my other fellow pilots with big family with few kids. It just gets a little challenging at some
Mm-hmm.
point because it's good to hear you getting 15 days off a month,
Mm-hmm.
which is half of the month off.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other half of the month, you are pretty much gone.
True.
So the life you have to work things around your
Mm-hmm.
schedule, which it can be your kids, it
True.
can be your spouse, it can be your
Mm-hmm.
parents, your family, your
Yeah.
friends. So that's one thing that I have to be very
Mm-hmm.
like sure about.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That might not be for everyone.
Yeah, true. Because especially, I'm sure it's not predictable. Like you don't know what your month is gonna look like in advance. Because you also mentioned like you are on call a lot of times, so you probably don't know when you're gonna fly next, right?
Exactly. So there are two different types of schedule, commercial flying. One is that you exactly know what you're doing next month.
Okay.
You know exactly what your trips are.
Okay.
And the next is something that's on call, which I prefer to do because I
Mm-hmm.
live in base. I'm 20 minutes
Mm-hmm.
from any of the airports. So if they
Got
call
it.
me, I get to go to work. And guess what? Like today, they didn't call me. I was home flipping channels on my TV. So I sat home and I still got paid. So like,
That's
for
great.
me,
Yeah, that makes
that
sense.
that that works fine for me. But like a lot of people choose to have the schedule so
Mm-hmm.
they know what they have to do.
Mm.
If they need to switch some flights in next month, there's an
Yeah.
appointment with the kid.
Mm-hmm.
You can try to swap a trip or drop and pick
Mm.
something else up.
Yeah,
So you have more flexibility if
got
you know
it.
what your schedule looks like.
Yeah, true. Especially like holidays and things like that. It
Exactly.
might be harder in some cases. Okay, pretty cool.
hmm
Okay, there's something else that I was thinking of. How does it work when you don't fly international a lot, do you?
I do not, but now I recently got into an airplane which will be flying more
Okay.
international. Yes, yes.
So how does that work? Are you gonna know which destinations ahead of time, and do you have to get like special visas for it?
With US right now, what JetBlue does is it just goes to Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone with a US passport, of course, you don't
Mm-hmm.
need anything at the time. But say someone is on green card and holds some international passport.
Mm-hmm.
So what company does is company will see which destinations that you're gonna go with this airplane,
Mm-hmm.
and for that you have like a crew visas that you can get it, and you can enter exit the country for your
Mm.
work without any problem.
Oh, okay, got it.
And those things are for a long time, so they actually range I think from 5 years to 10 years. It's not like they will just give you for a few months and you have to reapply again.
Okay. So when you're not working and if you're flying internationally, can you use some of that visa perk? I don't know.
With the work visa, um, I have not explored that much into it, so I cannot
Okay,
say
just
yes or I
curious.
cannot say no. But since you're an active crew member, I don't see why not.
Okay, pretty cool. I mean, I know
Yeah,
definitely with a US passport, with most countries you can travel without any issues anyway, but just figured it might be another
exactly.
perk for you.
Right, yes.
All right.
Definitely consider that.
Yeah. So we definitely talked about a lot of things that a person, like a layman person like me wouldn't know. So it's definitely been cool. I do have a couple other questions. So okay, so one of the things that
Sure.
we like to talk about on this podcast that a lot that other people think it's a taboo, but we do like to address it because um, when it comes to like salary, it has to suit your lifestyle, it has to suit your family's lifestyle. So if someone is thinking about it, what can they expect? Are you able to give some salary ranges?
Sure, sure. Things have changed quite a bit since the day one that I joined commercial aviation. That were a little dark times because
Mm-hmm.
we were not compensated that well. Being said, the entire um tuition that I had to pay from private pilot to my instructor rating, it was roughly around $90,000, which right
Mm-hmm.
now is definitely more because things
Okay.
are just getting expensive.
True.
And I'll be very honest, my first year's salary that I actually received
Mm-hmm.
was about $32,000
Hmm.
as a commercial pilot. Yes, but again, that thing being said, like
Mm-hmm.
it's this was about 12 years ago,
But still, that's a big jump.
and
That's a very big jump.
it's it's a big exactly. So now, a first year salary in
Mm-hmm.
regional airlines, someone can anticipate to make roughly around 70 to 75 thousand dollars a year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is the perfect time to be in aviation, just so you know, because all the companies are running low on
Oh
pilots.
yeah.
And there are companies that will pay you $100,000 to $150,000 just to sign the contract to fly with a specific company.
That's impressive.
So at this point, I've seen some newbies that just came out of school and
Mm-hmm.
instructing um, school. Now they are making roughly 150 a year.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So the very first year, yeah. So when you spend, usually you spend about like at this point, what I see is you spend about 2 to 3 years in
Mm-hmm.
regional airlines. So regional airline first year will make about 70,000. Second
Mm-hmm.
year roughly about 80,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's just like a fraction
Mm-hmm.
increment after that.
Okay.
But if you get a chance to be a captain in regional airlines, you
Mm-hmm.
are making roughly around 100 to $120,000,
Mm-hmm.
depending on how much you work and if you want to work overtime and stuff.
Makes sense.
Now, you come in the major airlines like someone like JetBlue
Mm-hmm.
or even legacies like Delta or American. Initially, you're gonna start off with say $1 to $150,000
Mm-hmm.
as a first officer, and a senior captain in any of the legacies will make roughly around 400 to $500,000.
Wow, that is a crazy jump. But that
Yeah,
is
it is
really
a big
impressive.
jump.
Wow. So
Yes.
I'm sure a lot of people probably don't know this. So that's super interesting. So again, definitely some things that are worth considering is like, scheduling and lifestyle. It may not be for everyone. Definitely a lot of skills that go into it may not be for everyone. But if you are passionate, you can, especially if you think you could do it or if you wanted to try it, like you mentioned, they could just try getting like a private pilot license. And I know that could cost maybe $10,000, but especially if it's a passion or hobby, I think those hours and the money might be worth it.
Oh, definitely, definitely. First of all, exactly. So you need to know that if you like it or not. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna throw this one out. Like it's a very good experience. If someone who's even a little bit not sure if they wanna be in aviation or if they have
Mm-hmm.
any doubts about it,
Mm-hmm.
a bunch of flight school actually offers introductory flights.
Ah,
So
okay.
what they do is, yeah, they will charge you about $250,
Okay.
and you can go out with an instructor up in the air,
Okay.
and the instructor is gonna give you a basic rundown of
Mm-hmm.
how this all works.
Okay.
And you can go up in the air. I bet the instructor is gonna let you hold the
Mm-hmm.
control,
Okay.
fly the airplane, go left, go right, go up, go down, like to get the feel of the
Mm,
airplane.
yeah.
So that's where actually a lot of people I've seen, like they used to
Mm-hmm.
come to our school, hey, can we go for introductory flights? So you take them up, and their eyes just open wide out,
Wow.
looking at the nice blue
Yeah.
sky and all the airports and everything
Mm-hmm.
that's underneath you right now. And I would say a good 60 to 70% of those people end up signing up
Wow,
to
that's
at least get the private pilot's license. Yeah,
yeah, that was very, I'm really glad I asked this question because I'm sure a lot of people will love knowing this. Just getting something like, getting to do it hands-on is completely different from just like a theoretical idea of knowing something, but actually being able to do
exactly.
it and experiencing it might be life-changing. Either it could be either direction.
Right.
So yeah, that's amazing. That's really good to know.
Yep. Highly recommend that.
Sounds good. I'm trying to think if I have any other burning questions, but if not, is there anything else you would want to share with just the audience in general?
If again anyone interested in this field, this is the perfect time to
Mm-hmm.
be in. The only downfall that you will see at this point is the amount of tuition,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not cheap. It's
Right.
not something that everyone can afford to do.
True.
But I have seen. I'll give you a few examples where
Mm-hmm.
a few flight attendants of ours that were like in my previous company,
Mm-hmm.
they were at the back.
Mm-hmm.
They had a tough job too, but
Mm-hmm.
they saw how the aviation works in
Mm-hmm.
the industry. Somehow they came up with different fundings, and not
Mm-hmm.
fundings, I should say, but like there are different courses that airlines
Mm-hmm.
actually have these days.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to pay anything. You just go
Mm-hmm.
study and you sign a contract,
Mm-hmm.
and after you get a job, they will start taking money off your paycheck.
Okay, that's amazing. I mean, honestly, I still think of these as real perks because if you think about any other 4-year college degree, like I did 4 years of pharmacy school after I did undergrad, and some of like the starting salaries that you mentioned are still comparable to what I would be making after so long. And our ranges don't even go that far. So, if someone is passionate, someone is interested, I think it still gives you a real good money for your buck, like, and the investment in general. The ROI is amazing.
Definitely, in the long run, it will pay off by itself.
Hmm.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Okay, I did
this
have
is the time.
one random question. I'm gonna put you on the
Yes.
spot. I know at one point you were doing like a little business idea on the side where you were helping like you had reached out to aviation schools here and you were helping like international students get
Yes.
admissions.
Yes. Like, so with those 15 days off that I got,
Yeah,
I was really bored watching TV. So,
exactly.
like, I saw how much there's uptick in aviation industry and how much
Mm-hmm.
in internationally all the companies
Mm-hmm.
are ordering so many airplanes. So if you do
Mm-hmm.
the math, they
Mm-hmm.
will need a lot of pilots in the
Yeah.
near future.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually opened up a company in India
Mm-hmm.
where there are not that many aviation schools at this point.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So usually what they do is they come to US, they go to Australia or
Mm-hmm.
UK or somewhere in Europe, and they will do their flying certification and then go back to India.
Okay.
So what we did was we just helped the people
Mm-hmm.
with different schools and different destinations if they want to come to US or if they
Mm-hmm.
want to go to Australia
Mm-hmm.
or somewhere in Europe. So we tied with different schools and we sent them all the students.
Wow, that is so cool. So again, you're taking something you're already passionate about and you're thinking outside the box and you're generating more income. Like it doesn't get better than this.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
And you helping others out. That's
Yeah.
proud feeling when you
Yeah,
when you see
absolutely.
all those kids
Mm-hmm.
now become a pilot working
Yeah,
for big airlines,
absolutely.
and that's a proud feeling.
Yeah, that's really amazing. And this is exactly what we're doing here too, like helping other people, give options. If this is something that they're ever considering, it'd be amazing to know. And regardless, like I think everyone wants to know a pilot story, so I think everyone should love this episode. I'm so glad we did this. I think we can definitely call it a wrap now. Thank you so much.
Perfect. No, thank you.